Hi, everyone. Meteorologist Amy Sweezey here with Florida Weather Authority. Did you have a great weekend? I hope you did. Did you get a lot of rain? Some of you got inches of rain and several rounds, downpour after downpour on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And some of you didn't pick up much at all, just a little here and there, maybe a lot of clouds. We certainly had some cooler temperatures, which was nice, wasn't it? We were in the lower 90s in most spots over the weekend, as opposed to the mid to upper 90s. And a little extra cloud cover and rain certainly helped. And now that we are heading into the first full week of August, we have more rain in store. So let's get right to it. I am going to share some graphics with you here so that we can talk about what is happening in Central Florida. All right, so we have above average rainfall this week, 50, 60, 70% coverage every day all the way through next weekend. We're going to talk about why coming up here shortly. We also have more clouds and more rain like we had over the weekend, which will lead to cooler temperatures. We'll talk about that coming up here as well. And I also have an update on the tropics for you of what we are keeping an eye on there. So first of all, let's get right to it. Remember that front we were talking about last week? It was a cold front. It pushed south. It's added some extra moisture to our overall weather pattern here and to the atmosphere in North Florida for sure, but even into Central Florida as well. So that front has stalled out. It is still nearby, and it is still going to be impacting our weather for the next couple of days. In fact, we have an excessive rainfall outlook here for you, the marginal risk and the slight risk. So the yellow color is a slight risk. That's a higher chance, like a level 2 out of 5. And the green color is a marginal risk. That's about like a level 1 out of 5. So notice most of Central Florida is in that green zone, but portions of the Big Bend up through Gainesville and even parts of Marion County. So this includes Ocala. It includes Denellen. It includes places from I-75 back to the west and even a little bit to the east of 75, like up into the Micanopy area where we have that excessive rainfall outlook in effect. So most areas will get about an inch or less of rain, but some spots will have 2 to 4 inches of rain, especially in that yellow zone. I think the rest of Central Florida that's in the green, which includes Brevard County, Osceola, Seminole, Orange County, Orlando, up into Flagler and Volusia counties as well. All of those areas that are shaded in green will see about an inch of rain or less total. But in the spots where we do have those localized areas where you get those fast downpours in a short amount of time, some temporary flooding, especially in low-lying spots, poor drainage areas, that becomes a concern. Ponding on the roads when you're trying to drive. And because of all that, there is a flood watch that's been posted. Now, notice the flood watch is mainly for North Florida along the Gulf Coast. It does include parts of Alachua County and Marion County, the Big Bend up over toward Panama City Beach, just kind of outside of Panama City, but it does include Tallahassee as well. So the flood watch in effect for today on Monday, anywhere from 2 to 4 inches of rain likely. Now, across the state, because of the rain expected and the extra clouds, temperatures will be a little bit cooler. Now, these are not the daytime highs. These are the 3 p.m. temperatures where there will be some rain happening, and obviously when it's raining in Gainesville, it'll only be in the 70s. I do think that Orlando and Point South will be in the lower 90s, which is, of course, more typical, more normal for this time of year, instead of those mid to upper 90s, which we were dealing with last week. And along with that, even though it will be humid, because the actual air temperatures are a little bit lower, the heat index numbers are not quite as high either. We're not in a heat advisory today, not as concerned about heat illness, not going to see those heat index numbers in the 108, 110, 112, which we saw a little bit last week. Now, it will still be hot. Yes, it is the summer in Florida. It's hard to get around that on any given day. But with temperatures in the lower 90s and the humidity levels, the dew points in the low to mid 70s, this is what the heat index will look like. So for the most part, through the afternoon, it'll be upper 90s to around 100. And then notice once we get into the evening, those heat index numbers really fall off, which is nice. It's a lot more comfortable to be outside after sunset right now when the humidity levels are just a little bit lower. So that's what you can expect for Monday. And actually, this is kind of the pattern that we're going to see for much of this week with the extra moisture, the extra clouds, the extra rain that is going to keep our temperatures a little bit cooler all week. which you'll see in the 7-day forecast coming up. First, I want to give you a quick tropics update. Good news, there is nothing major going on. Things are relatively quiet. National Hurricane Center, tropical cyclone activity is not expected over the next week. This is what the satellite imagery looks like across the Atlantic. You can see coming off of Africa, may start to see a couple of areas of low pressure coming off Africa in the next week or two, especially now that we're heading into the month of August. But right now, we've had some, showers and storms in the Bahamas and off to the east coast of the U.S. coast there. You can see up in the upper left-hand corner of your screen. And then, of course, we have the rain that the satellite's picking up on, those cold cloud tops across where we have the flood watch in effect in our state. But otherwise, over the Gulf and to our south for now, things are quiet. But as that changes, of course, we will be here to keep you posted. All right, let's look at that all-important 7-day forecast, which shows the temperatures closer to normal, closer to average, closer to the typical numbers, which we see this time of year, which is lower 90s. So again, not expecting any heat advisories or, excessive heat warnings this week. It's mostly because of the rain coverage. Look at these numbers here, 50, 70%. Now, when you look at that, just like over this weekend, we had 70, 80% chance of rain for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Some of you only got a little bit of rain. You have to keep in mind that this forecast is really kind of for all of Central Florida. And it's basically saying that there's a really good chance that you're going to get rain, but it's not a for sure. It also does not mean that 70% of the day will get rain. It doesn't mean that the rain will just happen all morning, all afternoon, all night. But what the pattern that we're in now is mostly the rain is in the afternoon for the inland part of the state. Mostly the rain is along the coast in the early part of the day, in the morning, before the sea breezes kick in. But because we have these extra pieces of moisture that are being added to our atmosphere from the front to our north and from a little disturbance off to our east later this weekend, we are going to see a better chance for rain. So that's your 7-day forecast. Once again, we are Florida Weather Authority. My name is Amy Sweezey. Tom Sorrells and Dr. Rob Eicher, all meteorologists here, bringing you the latest information on our state and specifically in Central Florida. So thank you so much for joining me. Have a great Monday and enjoy the rest of your week. I'll see you soon.